Good morning.
Good morning.
We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree? You are knowing what you are wanting. Clearly focused desire in this moment, yes. You are enjoying the evolution of your desire. Mostly. You are beginning to relax into the idea that there will always be fresh new desire within you. And so any sense of incompletion or inadequacy or failure regarding some unfinished business of yours is really silly, don't you think? Since there will always be something new for you to desire. We can see how sometimes if you've wanted something for a long time and it seems that it is not coming, that you may be getting a little impatient about it not yet manifesting. But we want to softly, gently, no, bluntly, loudly, help you to remember or realize that that very impatience that you feel in the not yet unfolded manifestation is an indicator of resistance which is keeping it from unfolding. In other words, if you could find a way to feel happy in the unfolding, even if it seems like it's taking a while, that happy feeling will make it happen faster. Somehow finding a way to enjoy the process rather than having all of your hopeful sights set upon the completion or the outcome will make such a difference in the speed of your manifestations. Because when you desire something, but instead of keeping your eye on that which you desire, you are instead looking at where you stand in relationship to its completion, then you foster that feeling of frustration, of inadequacy, of incompletion, that just holds you almost in lockstep. In other words, you take a step forward and so does your completion. You take a step forward and so does your completion. But the distance between you and it seems to remain constant. We're wanting to help you to realize that the way you close that gap is by doing everything you can do to relieve your sense of frustration or dissatisfaction. Because dissatisfaction is a feeling that indicates a vibration that doesn't match your desire. We all are participating in a universe that is based upon law of attraction. And it's a wonderful environment in which to create, because law of attraction is this infinitely consistent law which says that which you are offering vibrationally is that which you are receiving. You cannot offer a vibration that is filled with feelings of frustration or anger or fear and receive back a life that is full of joy and satisfaction, because vibrationally they are very different points of attraction. So we want you to remember that you are physical extensions of source energy, which means you are powerful creators. And this energy with which you create is a very high frequency, powerful, good feeling, pure, positive energy. And the reason that we use the word pure is because it is undiluted with resistance. And the reason that we use the word positive is because in its pureness, there is no disconnection from that which is source. So in this clear, pure, good feeling focus, you are literal extensions of that which is source. And when you are in a moment like that, you feel wonderful. That's what elation or love or appreciation or passion, that's what those feelings mean. Those feelings mean that right now, while you are focused and while you are offering a vibration, that which you are choosing to focus upon is in such vibrational harmony with who you really are and what you really want and the source that is really you, that there is no resistance within you. On the other hand, any feeling that feels like negative emotion, whether you call it frustration or fear or rage or anger or any of those words that describe the negative emotion that you might be feeling, that negative emotion always means the same thing. It means you've chosen something to focus upon, and you certainly have the right to do that. But whatever you have chosen, which is now reverberating within you, is not a match to the source that you have also summoned. So it's like having your foot on the gas pedal and on the brake at the same time. Doesn't work out very well. When you are summoning source energy and not allowing it to flow at the same time, you don't go anywhere. There is this wall of resistance. And the feeling response within you, the indicator to let you know you're doing that, is what negative emotion is. So what is negative emotion? Negative emotion is your indicator that lets you know that in this moment you have introduced thoughts of resistance into the stream of summoning that you've already got started. Negative emotion means you've got your foot on the brake. Even though you've been summoning this energy, you are not allowing what you have asked for to come. Sometimes you say, well, I have this negative emotion in response to something someone else is doing, in response to circumstances that are out of my control. I didn't feel this way until I observed this thing that I do not want, or until I observed this thing that I know is not right, until I observed this very wrong thing. I didn't feel this way. And so, shouldn't some of the credit for the way I feel be given to this thing that is wrong? And shouldn't somebody do something about this thing that is wrong so that I can feel better? And we say, well, that's a trap that will get you every time, because now what you're saying is, the way I feel is outside of me. The way I feel is affected by outside circumstances. And so now you join the troops of humans who seek to control all outside circumstances and kill one another endlessly in the process of deciding which are the appropriate outside circumstances. Few of them ever finding any satisfaction along the way, because you cannot look at what you do not want and push hard against it in an effort to kill it or destroy it without putting resistance within your own vibration that disallows the wellness that you were looking for, that was the whole reason that you did it anyway. There is no getting around it. To feel good, you've got to let who you really are flow. And to let who you really are flow, you have to deliberately seek out thoughts, words, deeds, past, present, future, that feel good while you focus upon them. Which means, for most of you, you have to deliberately look and feel, look and feel, look and feel. You have to reacquaint yourself with the way things feel. You say, well, that's not so hard to do. I know what feels bad and I know what feels good. And we say, you were born with that knowing, weren't you? The thing that we notice that has somehow become distorted in your environment is sometimes you are actually confused about the appropriateness of something that feels good to you. As if you think that something that feels really bad in the process can turn out good. And we say, that's an easy one for us to answer because we understand law of attraction. You cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It can never ever be. And so we would like you to begin focusing upon the happiness of the journey and not so much focus upon the outcome that you seek. Because as you focus so hard on the outcome that you seek, it tends to draw your attention to the fact that the outcome is not yet. And then you focus upon the lack of the outcome that you seek. And then you achieve vibrational harmony with the lack of the outcome that you seek. And then you are not a vibrational match to the outcome that you seek. And then you do not allow the outcome that you seek. And then you get so frustrated because the outcome that you seek is not coming to you. And we say the only reason that the outcome that you seek is not coming to you is because you're focused upon the absence of the outcome that you seek. And you say, well, would it be all right for me to focus upon the outcome that I do seek? So as you ask, well, isn't it possible for me to focus upon the outcome that I do seek? And we say, it is possible for you to focus upon the outcome that you are really wanting. But so often when you focus upon the outcome that you are wanting, it just reminds you of where you are in relationship to the outcome that you're wanting. So, you must find a way to allow a path of less resistance in order to allow that outcome. You've heard that expression all of your life, haven't you? The path of least resistance. We call it the art of allowing. But the path of least resistance means, or the art of allowing means, find a way right here and now to let the energy flow. Find a way right here and now to allow my connection with Source. Now, what does allowing your connection with your Source have to do with getting the outcome that you seek? Well, it goes like this. There are 3 steps to the process. The first step is ask. You do that all the time. Contrast helps you to launch those preferences constantly. The second step is not your work. That is the work of the universe, God force, creative life force, all that is, whatever you are wanting to refer to this source energy. Step 2 is answer the request, and that is done in the moment of the request. Third, your most important step, or the one we most want you to focus upon, it's the one you have the most creative license within. Get into the receiving mode of what you're asking for. In other words, let it in. Well, how do you let in what you're asking for? Well, you must stop justifying why you want it, because that just holds you in step 1. You must stop defending your reason for wanting it, or explaining how badly you want it, or explaining how long you have wanted, or how long you have been without it. In other words, you have to get out of step 1 in order to be in step 3. A step 1 prayer sounds like, oh, please give to me this thing I really, really need. I'll be good from now on, I promise. A step 3 prayer says, I am so appreciative of this wonderful thing and this wonderful thing and this wonderful thing. A step 1 prayer keeps beating the drum that launches the desire, but it is not the receiving mode. A step 3 prayer, or moment in time, softens the resistance of what happens in step 1 and allows the step 2 answer to be received. You gotta let it in. And you're never letting it in when you're angry. You're never letting it in when you are afraid. You're never letting it in when you are frustrated. You are never letting it in when you are guilty. You are never letting it in when you are blameful. You are never letting it in when you feel bad. You are always letting it in when you are feeling joy. You are always letting it in when you are feeling love. You are always letting it in when you feel appreciation. You are always letting it in when you feel good. So, feeling good is the path of least resistance. So, as you are grappling with processes in order to try to begin to allow the fulfillment of these things that you want, if you would begin thinking, what might I say? What might I think? What might I remember? What might I imagine? What might I give my attention to? That would be the path of least resistance. Or, what makes me feel the very best that I can feel right now? Sometimes you can find a path of least resistance relative to some subject that really, really matters to you. Sometimes you got to get off that subject altogether in order to find a path of least resistance. You know what we are talking about? In other words, sometimes you've been focused for such a clear, long time on the absence of something that you really want that you are really in a distracted discomfort mode. So if we or anyone or you tried to get you to talk more about what you want when you already are so frustrated you can hardly stand it that what you want is not coming, there is a very strong probability that all we're going to do is help you to activate the vibration of resistance all the more. In other words, we would call that the path of more resistance. Do you ever see that? When you're visiting with family or friends or those you work with, they're talking about something that really irritates them. And the more they talk, the more revved up they get. They just get themselves worked up into a real dither about it. And sometimes, even when you try to soothe them, their dither gets more and more and more and more and more. Hitting it head on is often not the path of least resistance.